In an earlier video, I mentioned the old Appalachian Trail saying, hike your own hike. And yeah, everybody agrees we should do that. We should move at our own pace and eat what we want and carry what we want and all that stuff. If anybody out there is planning a through hike, we are going to talk about one of the biggest decisions they face in deciding what their own hike is going to be. Many people believe this is a personal choice, so it might be a good idea to think about the choice in advance, which is why we are talking about it here. But we have to point out that one option in this choice has been criticized by what might be called AT purists, and they have been criticizing this choice for many years. Here's the decision an aspiring through hiker must make. Will he or she walk the entire Appalachian Trail? We're not talking about quitting the trail early. We're talking about deciding to make part of the trip on something other than the AT. At first glance, it might seem silly to think someone would through hike and not walk the entire AT, and the purists would agree with that. But many people say they are on the AT to have their own kind of fun and they can do what they want. And when it comes to where they walk or where they don't walk, indeed, they can do what they want. For those who might not know, we first have to clear up one detail. The Appalachian Trail is a single footpath. Some people think the AT is a collection of trails. One guy I know thought part of the AT was in Ohio. Both of these ideas are completely wrong. The AT is a continuous single trail more than 2,000 miles long. It is marked by white blazes, 6 inches high and 2 inches wide, that are found on trees, rocks, bridges, posts, pavement, and so forth. The purists will say, if you plan to say you walk the entire AT, you have to follow those white blazes for every yard from one end of the AT to the other. I should point out my dog isn't in this fight, in the sense that I'm a mere section hiker who has never had any real hope of ever walking the entire AT. But I know there are different opinions about this. The next question is, how could somebody through hike without being on the AT all the way? There are many side trails that intersect with the AT. There are probably hundreds of them, and they are marked with blue blazes. In many places, hikers could take a shortcut by leaving the AT and following blue blazes. For example, they might replace 12 miles on the AT with 5 miles of side trail and end up back on the AT. In effect, this would mean they failed to walk that 12 miles of the AT. To accomplish this kind of thing, a hiker is going to have to know where the side trail leads. Usually, signs aren't enough to point out that a side trail can be used as a shortcut. It's usually going to require a map or a guidebook or information from a local to figure that out. Another detail is that the AT has been around in its completed form since 1937, and the trail does not follow the same route it did in 1937. Some parts of the trail have been moved from their original locations, and some parts of the original trail are now side trails. And some areas of the original AT are on easier terrain than the current AT. A man named Earl Shafer made the first Appalachian Trail through hike in a single year in 1948. He did it a second time in 1965 and a third time in 1998. The Associated Press wrote a story about Shafer after the 1998 hike, and I read the story at the time. In that story, Shafer complained about parts of the AT that had been moved onto really rough terrain. Today, the AT includes places where the rocks are so large and steep that hikers would be hard-pressed to climb them without the ladders that sit at some of them, or the steel handholds and footholds installed at others. And, of course, the rest of the AT is mostly one strenuous climb after another after another. I once talked to two hikers who were back on the AT after a fairly long blue blaze shortcut. One of them explained, quite earnestly, the trail we were on used to be part of the AT, so we can say we were hiking on the AT because it used to be part of the AT. If they wanted to hike Blue Blazes, fine, it's nobody else's business. But many, if not most people, would strongly disagree with the idea that Blue Blazes are the AT because technically they are not. Another thing that can make this White Blaze question an issue is the fact the AT Conservancy will present a 2,000-miler award to anyone who says they walked the entire Appalachian Trail. This award is given based on the honor system. The applicant is assumed to be telling the truth. The award doesn't require the hiker to carry a pack, and there is no limit to the amount of time the hiker might have needed to hike the entire AT. You can find the application for this award as a PDF on the ATC website. That PDF says it assumes the applicant will have hiked all of the AT between Springer Mountain in the south and Mount Katahdin in the north. In the event of an emergency, such as floods or fire, the PDF says Blue Blazes are an acceptable alternative. The PDF further assumes the applicant made, quote, an honest effort to hike the entire trail even if they didn't walk past every white blaze. I have no idea what this award might mean to most potential thru hikers, but I do know it means nothing to a number of them. Some hikers will tell anybody they use Blue Blazes regularly and they think it's a great idea. And yes, these people are hiking their own hike. There's also a thing called yellow blazing. A yellow blazing hiker will hitch a ride and completely skip a section of the AT. Another thing that's becoming popular is aqua blazing. This happens when a hiker takes a canoe trip that will bypass a sizable part of the AT in Virginia. One business online says it offers a canoe or kayak trip that is about 50 miles long. If a hiker blue blazes every chance they can and yellow blazes once a week and aqua blazes, they still are going to be working their tail off for hundreds and hundreds of miles on the white blazed AT if they travel from Georgia to Maine. We can distill the heart of the issue to the kind of question we get asked in public opinion surveys. Which of the following statements do you agree with? Is it A, since I will be working so hard on the AT, I might as well give myself a break on blue and yellow blazing and have some fun in the canoe ride? Or is it B, since I will be working so hard on the AT, I will walk every inch of the white blazes because I started this hike to work hard? Some people, mostly young people obviously, form relationships on the AT. So assume you meet some fantastic, great person on the AT, and this might be your future spouse. And what if you had been determined to follow every inch of the white blazes, but your new love interest wants to blue blaze and hitch rides and ride canoes? Then what are you going to do? That could be a tough call. Another issue is, what does it mean to say, I thru hiked the AT? How many people would care one way or the other? A few folks I know think I was half crazy to even go section hiking on the AT. I happen to think we go on long-distance hikes for ourselves. Very few people are going to punish themselves by walking 2,000 miles or even 200 miles just so they can impress people at parties. There has to be some kind of fire burning in us to keep us going. The people at the parties probably don't care who took the canoe ride. On the other hand, if an aspiring thru-hiker consistently bypasses a section of the AT and proclaims they walked the entire thing, they run the risk of somebody getting in their face about it. It might be difficult to do that kind of thing without at least one other thru-hiker noticing what's going on. The risk of being exposed might be small, but the risk is there. You might want to read the Wikipedia page on the Pacific Crest Trail. I read it in August 2015, and part of this page tells the story of the first recognized PCT thru-hiker. After that hiker became well known, a publication printed the allegation that this person skipped parts of the PCT by riding in vehicles on roads. The publication said it was prepared to produce witnesses to back up its story. Many people believe this person was the legitimate first thru-hiker, but many do not. So maybe this was a weighty philosophical and ethical discussion, but now we're done. If you have subscribed, let me say thank you very much. And if you have not yet subscribed, please consider doing so. It would be much appreciated. And as always, thank you very much for watching.